Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Deontay Wilder and Robert Helenius. I wish it was somebody else he was going to be fighting in this return, but let me tell you, he's going to be returned to fight Helenius, and the deal is at about 95% done for them to fight on a pay-per-view. What else is that? Okay. For those of you who didn't know, they're going to be fighting on pay-per-view. And that to me is amazing, man. A PBC pay-per-view. And a lot of people are frustrated because they want to see Deontay Wilder. They don't want to pay pay-per-view dollars. And my thing is this, right? Deontay Wilder, he's not the same fighter. Okay? And I'm not talking about the damage he took. I'm talking about as far as his profile. All right? We need to understand Deontay Wilder is in a whole nother stratosphere now. You guys understand? People will pay to watch this man fight. Now, if he gets in that ring and he looks like the Deontay Wilder of old, the one-hitter quitter, man, his stock goes through the roof, man. I mean, his shit, shoo, it goes past Sputnik and everything else out there in space, man. That's how that's the position that this man is in. And you know, basic economics, man. If there's an extremely high supply of something, the demand is low, price point is low. Okay? But when there's a really, really, really low demand of something, okay? Well, a really, really high demand and a really, really low supply, price goes through the roof. And with Deontay Wilder, there is an extremely high demand to see this man back in the ring fighting. Extremely high. And let me tell you, there's just not enough boxers, heavyweight fighters, that bring that kind of excitement like Deontay Wilder. Just, you're sitting on the edge of your seat the whole time, just waiting for him to touch somebody. You know, just anytime it's going to happen. AJ has power, but you're not sitting there waiting for that because he's boxing. Tyson Fury has power, but you're not sitting there waiting for that because he's boxing. Usyk has the power, but you're not waiting for that. Dillian White, Ortiz, Frank Sanchez, the Cuban Flash, I couldn't remember his name the other day. Even Luis Ortiz. You know, they have the power. Okay? These guys have it, man. But they don't have that Deontay Wilder freakish, press the pause button, hit stop, hit eject the cassette, or whatever it is to make everything just stop, flatline, and that's what he has. He has that eraser. So there's a extremely high demand, low supply of those kind of fighters, especially as a heavyweight. And that's why Deontay Wilder coming back to pay-per-view. Now, I don't know what his fight price is going to be, but I've been saying this in videos. I'm going to start saying it more and more, right? Look at what's going on with pay-per-view. You look at back in the day with Mike Tyson, and you look at the Oscar De La Hoyas, and just everyone who's Sugar Ray, anyone who fought on pay-per-view, right? Let me tell you, when those guys are selling, 1 million pay-per-view buys of even 500,000, that helps out these networks to pay these guys the kind of salaries that these guys have earned. And Deontay Wilder has earned the right to make minimum $20, $30 million paydays. Okay? He's earned that. He's found his niche. Or he was blessed with his niche. Or like he says, he was anointed with his niche, right? There's no one in boxing, heavyweight boxing, that can do what Deontay Wilder can do. They can knock you out. They can hurt you, but not short fuse you like Deontay Wilder, okay? So Deontay Wilder is going to make a lot of money. The thing is, can he continue doing that? But pay attention to the pay-per-view because that's the way they bridge the gap as far as this is how much we have in our budget for the year, right? They get a budget for the year that they got to figure out how they're going to spend it over fights. And in this budget for this heavyweight fight for Deontay Wilder, he'll get a guarantee. That means we have this for you, or however much. But with sponsorship, pay-per-view, whatever means of helping generate the money necessary to pay the fighters, right? That's going to help bridge that gap between a guarantee of, let's say, 8-10 million and then him making 30-40. And pay-per-view is necessary, okay? Now, you've heard that Eddie Hearn and Steven Espinoza and Mayweather, Leonard Ellaby, and Bob Arum, and all these guys everyone kind of digging at Eddie Hearn because Eddie Hearn was just basically downplaying pay-per-view and saying the pay-per-view is dead and it's not needed in the zone, blah, blah, blah. Well, now you're seeing that shit is needed. The amount of money that they're paying those guys over in the zone, and you see they're cutting the fat. They're getting rid of fighters because they don't want to pay them unless they're going to be a draw. Eddie Hearn is cleaning house over there because he has to find a way to recoup a lot of that money that was spent and find a way to keep the talent that puts butts in seats. As a result, they have to use pay-per-view. Again, they're going to have a guarantee, but to bridge the gap of what these fighters have earned and also what they're contracted to pay them. You can't pay over 10 fights, $300 million, $400 million, unless you got a pay-per-view model in place that can help to make up 60 to 80% of that fight purse. Otherwise, these guys like Bob Arum and Terrence Crawford, you're pulling out your own pocket. You're going red every time. That's why Bob Arum cut the fat and got rid of Terrence Crawford's ass. Has nothing to do with Terrence Crawford's talent. He's got to go. Pulling out of my own pocket. That means they have a budget, and out of that budget, they're going into the red because of this one guy. And that's not how it's supposed to work. Okay? But my thing is, I'm not sure how much Helenius is going to make, but there are a lot of people saying that, why in the world would he fight Helenius? Let me tell you, boxing politics, man. Y'all need to understand this. What did Roger Mayweather say? You don't know nothing about boxing, okay? People are like, oh, why did he pick Helenius? I didn't want him to pick Helenius because I know Helenius is a threat. But understanding the makeup of this fight and why it's happening, Helenius was a mandatory for one of them belts AJ and Usyk are fighting for. See, this is the thing that a lot of people don't realize, man. That man was a mandatory. You guys got to understand that. Helenius, man's out here doing his thing, man. Whipping people's asses, you know. And he lost to Gerald Washington, man, back in 19, but then 20 clipped Kornacki. And remember, at that time, Kornacki was making noise. He came back, boom, rematch, clipped him again, all right? And Helenius became the mandatory, man, for the WBA. You see? So he's supposed to be getting a crack at Joshua Usyk. And he's already he had his people in place to sue them because he's supposed to be the mandatory for that WBA belt. And this is what sucks about boxing, and especially that damn WBA. They don't care about those big fights. They want their money. So they'll say, okay, we understand, AJ or Usyk, you guys have just fought your second fight. The winner wants to go fight Fury for an undisputed distinction. We get it. But we want our belt. We want you guys to go out there, man, and put our belt out there and fight. We want that belt being exercised. We want to see you guys fighting for it. See, that's what the WBA wants. So they'll go to a purse bid deal, $200,000. For a heavyweight fight, $300,000, $400,000. And if these guys don't come up to some kind of agreement, then they got to fight AJ or Usyk, whoever wins, will have to fight Helenius for that dirt money. And see, that's boxing politics is bullshit, but it is what it is. So when you understand that now, right? That's the position Helenius is in, okay? And he's threatening to sue, and he will go through with it. So when you look at that, you're like, man, we got this guy Helenius. He's pissed. He wants a shot for the, and the way I put it, for the super heavyweight distinction, right? I'll say that because it's 4 belts this man will be fighting for? 3 belts, right? That's what he wants. But how do we quell this? How do we get control over this situation? We don't want him to sue. We don't want this purse bid and all this crap going on with the WBA. How do we satisfy this guy Helenius? Okay, Deontay Wilder's coming back. Okay, boom, Andy Ruiz. Or, Derek Chisora, Dillian White. Easier fights, right? Those are easier fights, in my opinion. But nah, We can't worry about that. We got this fire over here. And before it spreads, let's contain it. Let's satisfy this guy Helenius. Give him that shot with Deontay Wilder. Plus, he was Deontay Wilder's sparring partner. He helped him prepare for Fury. Deontay Wilder's loyal. It just all kind of works out. Helenius is a threat, but they don't see him as much of a threat because of the fact that he lost to Gerald Washington, and they figure Kanaki is just a damn punching bag. So Deontay Wilder should be able to get in there and do the business, right? But that's how this fight ended up coming up. They don't want any problems. Because if they didn't put him in there with somebody of some kind of name recognition, Helenius would have been pissed, and he would have messed up that undisputed distinction that they're trying to have between the winner of AJ Fury and Tyson Fury. AJ Usyk and Tyson Fury. I'm telling you, man. So Deontay Wilder is sitting back chilling. You know, there's demand for him. Not the man. There was a high demand for him. People want to see him. And he gets the statue, and now he gets a camera put in front of his face, and he puts himself in a position to where he goes out there and he's backed himself in a corner. I apologize to my family if it's an inconvenience. These are Deontay Wilder's words, not mine. But the world needs me. And I must go back to the Call of Duty at this moment in time. This man turned into a superhero. You know what I'm saying? This man turned Wakanda. He's a superhero now. You know, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing for Wilder. But this is what concerns me, right? And I'm going to just be real with you. I wholeheartedly feel Deontay Wilder should beat Helenius. I think it's a bad style matchup because of Helenius' size. And he's gotten better since the Gerald Washington loss. But at the same time, he's not Tyson Fury, okay? But I think it's a bad style matchup. So it's two concerns. That's the second concern. Bad style matchup. The first concern is Deontay Wilder returning to the ring because he has this superhero bullshit, but not from his heart. Doing it for the people, but not really, this is for me. Because you got to understand, right? And I'm not bad talking him. I root for Deontay Wilder. I always want Deontay Wilder to win. Has nothing to do with pigmentation in the skin. It's kids, man. The thing about his daughter, man, that just, you know, that touched me. Luis Ortiz situation touched me. Watching Miguel Cotto talk about he is not the best husband, but he was the best father. That touched me. You know, whenever Tyson Fury, the situation with his daughter, the baby was born and sick, you know, that stuff touches me, okay? So that's why with Deontay Wilder in this fight, and almost all his fights, I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for all of them, but I'm really rooting for this guy. But my thing is this. If your heart's not in it, man, it don't matter who you feel you're fighting for the people, it's not going to work out, okay? Because he was fighting before for his daughter. It was different. Everything he could possibly want to do for that little girl and her kids, it's all in place. It's locked. So what is this man doing? Feeling that pressure to come back and fight. So he wants to come back now and feels that he can, as some kind of superhero, he's going to come and save the day. Yo, man. Boxing, I'm not going to say they need it, but it's nice to have someone like Deontay Wilder in the mix. Okay? It's nice to have a heavyweight champion, especially someone like him. He didn't get the love that he deserved. He didn't get the support he deserved. They didn't treat him right when he was the WBC champion. They didn't treat him right. They just saw him as this dumb country bumpkin from Alabama. And that's the reality. And that's a horrible stereotype that gets placed on people from the South as just, you know, people from the South are dumb. And that's not factual. That's bullshit. Okay? But for him to be a heavyweight champion, happened to be from Alabama, and, you know, he's well-spoken, not the most articulate, but he's well-spoken. People just immediately want to attack him, and I don't agree with that. All right? I just don't agree with that, because we shouldn't be breaking champions down. We should be building them anyway. Okay? But now that he had to go, now look what this man had to go through. All that crap with Tyson Fury, man, to finally come out at the end and for people to he had to damn near die in the ring. And people are now saying all these great things about him. And some people still don't have anything positive to say about him. And that to me is crazy. I get it if you don't agree with the whole theory that there was cheating and stuff in the fights and all that. I get it, right? Even for those of you who don't want to believe anything with this Kinahan guy. All right, whatever. I ain't make this shit up, but I get it. I'm not saying it's true or not true. What I'm saying is, well, there's smoke, there's fire, but we're not gonna get into that. But even if you don't believe that, at this point, if you don't put a little respect on this man's name for what he's shown in the ring, especially that last fight with Fury, not many fighters will push through that, man. That what he did was the equivalent of them guys in the UFC getting their leg twisted and not tapping out, and they rather just have it break and be broken. Where it's like, I couldn't continue, you saw my leg break. Or a guy choking him and he won't tap out and just have them put him to sleep. Like, that's what Deontay Wilder did. That was the equivalent of what Deontay Wilder did. And if you don't see it like that, man, you're just blind. Okay? He's a special human being, man. But that doesn't mean he's going to beat Helenius. Especially if his heart's not in it. I tell you, that man waking up, he may not even be sleeping in silk pajamas. He probably sleeping butt naked out there in Alabama in that mansion, man. You know what I'm saying? But whether he's sleeping butt naked in silk pajamas, the man's sleeping good, and I wouldn't want to wake up out of a nice sleep to go run no damn 10 miles in no combat boots marching through his damn estate or whatever the hell he's doing in Alabama to get ready for no damn fight when his net worth is probably damn over $100 million. Cash in the account is probably over $100 million. Net worth with assets and everything probably close to $500 million now, okay? He's in a wonderful position, and I'm happy for him. But I don't want to see him get his ass in this ring if he's not ready, because that's just not what he needs to do. You don't have to prove anything. You've shown the world what you're about. It's like Tyson Fury has shown the world what he's about. AJ still has something to prove. Too many losses, man. Or not just the way he's lost, the way he's gotten hurt in fights over and over. I think AJ still has something to prove. He's a great fighter, but this is his chance of redemption. If AJ can show that he can be a monster, and don't get me wrong, I know what he's done. He's fought the better competition out of everyone, but he just didn't look spectacular. And that's my opinion. I'm sure someone disagree, but that's my opinion, man. But to me, out of AJ, Fury, and Wilder, AJ still has work to do. Not Wilder, not Fury. But because of what they brought out of each other in that trilogy, I don't think they have any more work to do. I think it'd still be nice to see them fight some other top contenders, but they haven't fought as many. I don't think they fought as many as AJ. But, I can see both sides of the argument. But that's just my perspective, you know what I'm saying? But a win over Wilder would be great for Helenius, the former sparring partner, because it would further establish and he's from Finland, so he's Finnish, the Finnish veteran as a worthy contender in the crowded heavyweight division. So you guys let me know what you think. Deontay Wilder, Wakanda forever, all of that. I'm coming back for the people. The world needs me and all this. We get it. And we know how he feels. We know how he talks, and he's proud of who he is, his culture, from being from Alabama. And that's a beautiful thing to see people. I don't care what your ethnicity is, what your background is, what your culture is. You should be proud of who you are. There's nothing wrong with that. And I said that. I'll say that again. There's nothing wrong with that. At the end of the day, though, man, your pride gets you killed. All right. So hopefully he knows what he's doing going in with Helenius, because Helenius is a monster. And Kaneki has some success against him. If Kaneki has success, Wilder should. Wilder's not a volume puncher, but once he kind of zeroes in on you, you're in trouble. And if Helenius can't discourage Wilder or hurt him, Helenius could be in trouble. But we'll see. Don't be surprised if Helenius goes down and we see it as him taking a dive. Don't be surprised. I'm not saying that Wilder would be all right with a fight being fixed, because we know how he feels about that, right? But if Helenius gets touched and he goes down and starts doing the funky chicken and it just something seems off, just don't be surprised, man. I just can't see Wilder coming back and getting stopped in his return fight. I just don't see it happening. But we'll see what happens. But that being said, like and subscribe. Deontay Wilder doesn't want to inconvenience his family. But my boy is returning because the world needs him, and he's trying to become heavyweight champion again. So people support him. Let's not break down the champion. Let's not break down Helenius. Let's not break down AJ, Fury, none of these guys. Because to be honest with you, man, it's easier for us to sit back here and provide commentary and opinions. A lot of you guys watching these videos have boxed at an amateur level. Some of you guys never boxed on an amateur level, but you sparred in a ring. Some of you guys have boxed on a professional level. Doesn't matter what your experience is, you know. If you've gotten in the situation where you're doing some kind of sparring, you know, and you've trained, you know that's not easy, man. Okay, so it's easy to sit back here and talk, and you know it's fun to joke and stuff like that. But I really think going into this fight with Wilder, man, Wilder and Helenius, I don't think it's an easy fight, but I'm not 100% sure he's doing it for the right reason. With his daughter and family was the talk, absolutely. Because the world needs me? Come on, man. It's like he's going back to wearing the big costumes and all the craziness. He's a superhero again. Like, I don't like hearing him talk like that. The world don't need you, man. The world don't need you. Your family needs you. And I know he knows that, but don't get caught up in reading some of this crap out here, man, in social media. It's nice to have him fighting, but he has nothing to prove. He needs to chill out because he's going to come back, man, and get his ass embarrassed by someone who is going to become famous off Deontay Wilder's name. And I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. But at the end of the day, I do want to see him in the ring. So if that's what he chooses to fight, it is what it is. Boom, y'all be cool. I'm in the breeze as always. I appreciate the support. Let's get to 1,000 subscribers, man, and we can start getting the merch going and getting the what's that called? The live streams and stuff. I just can't do it right now until I hit 1,000 subscribers. So appreciate everyone's support. Y'all be cool. Deontay Wilder's back, and I'm in the breeze.